Okay, so welcome to episode 2 of the VoltaCast. Today we have a new guest on, and would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lee Rose. I'm the Managing Director of Rose Dobson Forestry.
Okay, so thanks for coming on, Lee, and giving up some of your valuable time to join us on the podcast. And I suppose the aim of this is to really find out about people and hear their stories. So, you know, it'd be great to hear about, you know, where it all started for you and how you got to where you are today. So,
Yeah, sure.
do you want to give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah, so I suppose it all starts. I was 16, I'd left school, and I followed in the family tradition of joining the army. And I went off to join the army, and I joined the Royal Artillery. And then in 2002, I left the army and I became a Crown servant. And then for the past 20-some years, worked doing various operations and various jobs for the Crown. Fast forward that to the first strike of COVID. And I think COVID makes you realise what's important in life, I think. Certainly did for me, and I've got 2 young children at the time, and there was a bit of an incident where we was having a snowball fight, and I felt the onset of a heart attack, or
Right.
what I thought was a heart attack.
Okay.
And I'm quite au fait with the medical and trauma side of things because of what I used to do, and I knew the signs and symptoms, and I knew what was coming. So I put my snowballs down on the floor. My little boy wondered what was going off, and I walked off to the bushes to what I thought was to die, because I didn't want to see my son look at his dad fall down in front of him and die.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen. I went into the bushes. It was probably 5-6 minutes later. It felt like an eternity. All the chest pains, all the signs and symptoms of a heart attack. I then eventually came back. I was okay. I didn't pass out or anything. I just came to again. Came back out and said to my wife, look, we need to ring the hospital. Off to the hospital I went, spoke to the doctor. He said, there's 2 things he told me. He said, firstly, you've got COVID. And secondly, COVID has gone to your heart, which is the effects of a heart attack that you're feeling. He said it's actually AF, atrial fibrillation. It gives you a similar kind of effect. He says you're quite lucky because you're so fit. You've been all right. Had you not been so fit, I dare say we wouldn't have had this chat.
Wow.
He actually said, eat whatever you want because your body's fighting a fight. Just eat everything. Okay, brilliant. So takeaways for the next few weeks, every day.
Yeah.
Just eat it all. That was quite a wake-up call for me, really, because of what I'd been doing for such a long time. You kind of get in a rut, and you don't see life passing you by. You don't realise how stressed you are. You don't realise these things that impact your life. You just keep going on with the flow because that's what you're used to. And when that happened, I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise, really.
So what age were you when this happened?
40.
And what age are you now?
45.
45, right. So, you know, I mean, that's one hell of a start to a conversation. You know, that's a major life-changing incident that happened in your life. So, you know, going back to your artillery days, was it? Did you say?
Yeah.
You know, how do you think that might have helped you prepare? Well, not prepare for it, but react in a positive manner when something like that happened, you know?
Well, I think because of what I used to do in the army, and because of the life I had after the army, there's a few elements in there. I can't give in. I can't admit defeat. There's always a way round to achieve your goal. If you're faced with a wall, you step sideways and you keep going and you keep going and keep going. And when you're faced with what would be failure, there is always another way. And I think because of that, and the sheer doggedness and the discipline and the respect for others and doing the right thing, which has been, you know, it's been drilled in me since a little boy because my dad's in the army, my granddad and so on and so forth. They've set me up well in life to do what I do now. And doing the right thing, I think, is the most important thing in anybody. The morally right thing as well. And I think that shows off with the customers and the relationships that we built with our clients. We are trusted. We're trusted. We're trusted on sites which are sensitive, and we're trusted that we'll get the work done. It doesn't need to be double checked. We just.
So what is it you do now, Lee, for people who are listening?
Yeah,
obviously, you just talked about probably, I think, more like your current situation. Yeah. So how's that changed? So you had this incident.
Yeah.
What action did you take following that, and how did it change your course of action?
So I went home after this whole incident and said to my wife, I can't do this anymore. I need to see more of my children. We're on this planet for such a fleeting amount of time. I can't spend what would probably be 2/3 of my entire life doing what I was doing and not spending time with my kids. You grow so quick, as you know, and within a matter of a couple of weeks, they've grown 2 inches, and I was losing valuable child time. So something had to change. So I said, right, I've had enough of this. I want to do something else. So I had no idea, because I was institutionalized. My whole life has been what I did before, so I knew nothing else.
And I know you can't talk about some of what you did before. Yeah. So if we can liken that to the army, you were in a high disciplinary sort of environment where you had to follow rules and regulations, and that continued through most of your career, right up until what age?
40.
40, and then this happened, and then carry on,
So I was quite scared, to be perfectly honest with you, because even though it's institutionalised, it's a comfortable place to be in. You get paid regular, there's routine, there's discipline. So stepping outside of that, it's quite a hard thing to do. And the big wide world, the civilian world, is a frightening place to be. Genuinely a frightening place to be. So we sat down on the computer and my wife typed in jobs that are outside. I didn't want to work in an office, really. I didn't want to work in a call centre. That's how my new life started. And up came the word arborist. There was various other things, as you can imagine, when you type jobs outside. There's an array of employment.
So what is an arborist?
Good question. So an arborist is the science and study of trees, woodlands, management, the maintenance of trees, doing all the green stuff in the right way, knowing your trees.
It almost sounds like you've come from this institutionalised place with lots of discipline to complete freedom.
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. It is, and that's scary in itself, because there's nobody there to tell you what to do. The onus is on you to make the right or wrong decision. It's all on your shoulders. So I went back to college and studied arboriculture, which is the science and study of trees. Soil science, tree science, environmental science, all within that. Then I left and we set up our own business.
Okay.
And my business started with a Land Rover Discovery Mark II, so 1994, I think it was, if I remember rightly, and a wooden trailer. That was it.
Okay.
That was my empire.
So you went back to college.
And it was terrifying.
You retrained.
Yep.
So how did you get experience?
So I've worked for a company at the time to gain experience in what we do. And then
you took the step to set your own business up?
That's right, yeah. Because I realised quickly that wasn't for me. I wasn't leaving what I did before just to become an employee of that. I wanted to make my own business.
And I know you have multiple employees now, etc., and you've got a much bigger team, but how did that start off? Who was it in the initial stages? Just yourself? Or?
Me. Just me. Yeah. So it was me, the Land Rover, a wooden trailer, and occasionally a friend would help.
Okay.
And then I very quickly learned at the beginning, when you're taking on a job, not to say no. There's always a way around. So initially I'd look at whatever the job might be. It might be a domestic customer or a commercial customer. It's quite easy to say, oh no, that's too big. Well, then you've lost that. You've lost that. So I say, yes, I can do that.
And then work out how to do it after.
Exactly. Come away, panic like crazy, thinking, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
and then make a few phone calls, get some friends in, knit it all together, because that's what I'm very good at that. I'm very good at project management. It's my thing. I'm very good at looking at a situation and working. I will look at whatever the situation is, and I will, in my head, very quickly go through a multitude of outcomes and scenarios and come up with the best situation. Then I'll put that plan into place, and I will integrate people and project manage and get the job done.
Okay.
That's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So that's where it progressed, and it progressed further and progressed further. And obviously, you reinvest and reinvest and reinvest, and all that money goes back in and back and back in, working and working, and the business grows. And now we have quite an array of clientele, both domestic and commercial. We do large site clearances ready for housing projects, building projects. We plant trees, part of the North Yorkshire Moor scheme. All this kind of
tree surveys, you do those kind of things, don't you?
Regenerative work. We even go to schools and educate kids about trees and how to look after trees.
And you do some other sort of, you give back to the community in other ways as well, don't you?
We do. So when we're clearing a site or whatever that commercial job might be, along that way, naturally you find sapling trees, because obviously they're doing what they do. So we save those sapling trees, and then we donate those to various people and companies or estates around wherever. Because I think it's important. You can't just keep taking. You have to give back. As in I'm on about the land as well. Not just as
more for the environment than...
Of course. So when we are site clearing or removing trees, we'll always replant trees wherever possible. Or we will certainly save the young ones. We won't just destroy them, and then we will relocate them and plant them somewhere else. And I think that's important, because you can't keep chopping away. We need to manage and look after. And
did I hear that you sponsor a local rugby team as
well?
We do.
So we sponsor...
Because your son's into rugby, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Well, not quite the minute, because he's broke his leg, but So we place for Kipax Welfare. And we sponsor their team.
Excellent.
Which is just a nice thing to do as well.
Yeah,
it gives money to the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
He loves it. And so there's all that kind of stuff. And we're always, what I've always said is we're always free for a chat, which helps. So we will, when we do get people who call up and say, look, can you please advise what I should do with this tree or this bit of land or whatever? And I don't mind talking. I'll talk, it's fine. Or how much is that going to cost me? It costs nothing for a conversation.
Okay.
And that in itself, I think, builds trust. And that further then moves on to further contracts, because they say, well, contact Lee from Rose Dobson Forestry, because he's honest. And he's not out just to take your money. He's out to do the best for the tree and the best for you, the best solution all around.
So why, I mean, when you typed in the computer and you said jobs outdoors, you must have come up with all sorts of different things.
It did.
So, what was the burning desire, do you think, to go down the route of being an arborist?
Trees, green, woodland. I've spent near enough my entire life around trees and in woodland, and that outdoor setting, whether it be camping, fishing, shooting, whatever it might be. That just ticked every box. Just ticked every box. The management and welfare of trees.
Okay, and you've got something quite special in your business. Is it a unimog?
A unimog, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us
what... Mognut is what we call her.
Tell us what the unimog is then. What does that do?
Wow, so the unimog, she's a big old girl.
Okay. Is it a Mercedes?
It's a Mercedes unimog, yeah. She's a 6.2 litre straight diesel. Top speed of 55 miles an hour. 55 miles an hour anywhere, but 55 miles an hour. It has 3 gearboxes, 8 speeds, so 24 in total, forward and backwards. And then on the front of it has an enormous wood chipper, is what it's for. And with using our equipment, so we'll pick it up with a JCB or a log grab, sticks the tree in the front, that then turns that into wood chip, which fills the back of the unimog. Or if there's more than what the unimog can carry, which is quite a lot, we also have a timber and grain trailer, and we can put it into that.
Okay.
So that once that's been turned into wood chip, that comes back to our yard.
Okay.
The wood chip goes into a furnace, which powers turbines and puts electricity back into the grid.
That's brilliant.
So it's completely used. And then any wood product from trees which don't go in the chipper comes back to our yard, gets chopped up into firewood. That goes into the kiln dryers and dried. And then kiln dryers are dried from the byproduct of the turbines creating electricity for the grid. So 100% of everything we remove is used. There is no waste.
That's great. That's fantastic to hear. And I know that firsthand because my son has been involved with working.
He has.
And he's got a little nickname for you as well, which I think it's Brook It Lee.
Brook It Lee.
Because we've always got to have a brew on
Got
site,
to have a
haven't we?
brew.
So.
Don't matter whether you're in the middle of the woods or whether you're in a state, you've always got to have a brew kit. So I always have a little, and you'd have seen it, a little like a turbine kettle, and you put some little wood in the top and you make a brew. You could be in the middle of the woods and I'll make you a brew.
That's it.
That's
And just
what's
lift
important.
the spirits a little bit when things are getting difficult.
Of course it does. It can be raining, it can be miserable, and you've got a brew in your hand and you're happy. And that goes back to a previous life. If you've got a brew, everyone's happy.
So future plans for Rose Dobson Forestry, what are those then?
Rise and reign.
Okay.
They're my future
All
plans.
right. Excellent. Yeah.
Rise and reign.
Ambitious plans.
Dominate
then.
the market.
Yeah.
Dominate the market. I would like Rose Dobson to be a national known name
Okay.
within the commercial giants, and one where they say, right, okay, we've got this site that needs to be, whether it be plant 1 million trees or whether it be remove 1 million trees, whatever it might be, ring Rose Dobson.
Okay.
That's what I want. And I would like to have little pockets and little depots around the country of staff which we deem adequate and fit and will hold our professional name, because I'm quite the stickler for professionalism. I won't accept anything less. And if they're adequate for that, then they can have their little outfits in around the country. Almost when people buy into like the subways and stuff like that, and they have their own little shops, it's their business. That under our name.
Okay. Almost like a little franchise
That's
type
exactly what. Yes, like a franchise
operation.
And that's what I would like to have around the country.
Okay, that sounds
That's where I aim to
interesting.
be.
Yeah.
So rise and reign is the motto.
Yeah, so we've known each other for a couple of years now, haven't we?
Yeah,
so we met at a regular meetup.
Yes.
All employees and business owners.
Yeah.
But generally, we're all the same kind of people. We're all ambitious people. We all like business. We all, work in high worth jobs, or have some of our friends have jobs that are very, very difficult and stressful, and we sort of get together and chat about stuff, and we air our views on things. And I think that having you on the show today has been really, it's been a bit of an eye-opener for me, but as well because we never have this in-depth of a chat, and to hear your story and where you've come from and what you've achieved over the last few years since having a major health issue caused by COVID. Not by it wasn't anything to do with diet, or it wasn't anything to do with not being fit. You were a fit, healthy person, and this happened to a lot of people in COVID, didn't it? COVID sideswiped a lot of people.
Yeah, it did.
And killed a lot of people, unfortunately. Had you not been in the condition that you were in through probably your past history, then to overcome that, achieve it, and then get straight back on the bike and start your own business and become a successful business, which you are, offering a range of great services, from tree surveys to wood chip to whatever it might be, site clearances, advice, tree health, all those kind of things, and giving back to the community. I think I'd like to say to you, that I'm actually, I'm proud to be an associate of yours. So
likewise.
Yeah. So I'd just like to thank you for coming on today and telling your story, and I hope that people find it interesting and listen to it, and watch this space for more guests in the future.
I think
so. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
cheers.
you.
Thank you.